Hey, good morning, guys. Sorry about that. Just a couple of technical difficulties. I don't really stress it too much. You know, we care about the content and not necessarily the editing or the production and all that. That's important to some people, but the information is probably the most important thing. I want you guys to think of, I don't know if you guys have ever seen this. You ever seen a guy working out and he's like in Africa with dirt floors? And you're like, yo, look at that man. He's lifting bricks for his bench press. And he's he's running sprints in the sand and shit, right? It's like, man, they don't even have world-class facilities. They're just trying to get after it. And you gotta respect that grind. It'll be like a broomstick with 2 bricks on the end, and they're just doing bench presses or whatever, right? Some of those people just want it more than others. And you can only imagine what they would do with the right resources and production and the right team behind them. But there's no denying some of their innate ability and talent. I want you guys to understand that that's how I view myself. I'm a Kingian. I'm running. I might not be on an all-weather track, but I'm naturally more gifted than you. Like, I'm more equipped to do this than you. Period. It's unfortunate for the rest of you, but I just have a lot of RAM up here. Got a lot of space in my brain for all this information. I want to thank you guys for being here. I'm doing an early morning show. Probably going to talk for an hour or two at most. It all depends on the fans, like how many questions you guys put in the chat. Sometimes I get questions in the morning. Sometimes I don't. It's pretty early. I don't even do this for the views. Like, people will talk about how many viewers they have and how many views they get. I don't give a fuck about that stuff. I'm doing this to put the information out so one day someone can be like, who said this? Is the information out there? And I can just go, yeah, I said it. Let me show you. Here's my receipts. This is all about me just being right. This is all about RicoKnows. Like, I just know this information. I got to put it on the internet. I got to put it in 4K. I don't give a shit how many people watch it. Irrelevant. And that's the difference between me and other content creators, is I'm not stressing how many followers I have. Like and subscribe and hit the button and share with a friend and all this shit. None of that matters. Results matter. Accuracy matters, and that's what'll grow your platform. A lot of people ask me for advice on how to get better at what they do, especially on TikTok. They want to see the growth and they want to see the money and they want to do that. And I'm like, yo, bro, just make content and see who's rocking with you. Like, have you ever chopped it up with your friends and you're all talking sports and then all your friends kind of anoint you? They're like, hey, that guy knows a lot about sports. Hey, I used to get friends calling me up. Out of the blue, a dude I ain't talked to in years just called me up and be like, hey, yo, Rico, hey, me and my boys right now, we're having a debate. So who's better than, and it'd be like, yo, why am I the guy? For years I thought, why am I the guy? And then I realized I'm the best they've ever seen in real life. Could you imagine if you knew me in real life for the last 20 years? And anybody watching this live stream right now, anybody watching me going, this guy's so full of himself. Oh my God, he's so arrogant. Bro, don't watch my shit, bro. I don't want you anywhere near me. I only want people who rock with me. I don't want to surround myself with fake friends. I don't need any of you guys who are doubting me. I only want people rocking with me, bro. I never knew anybody who, like all these people who hate Taylor Swift. I don't think anybody is searching on Spotify for Taylor Swift if you hate her. I don't think anybody's buying her album. I grew up listening to old school R&B and gangster rap. You know what I didn't do? I didn't buy a Guns N' Roses album. Hated that shit. I'm not buying it. So if you don't like the content, why are you watching it, bruh? Why are you here? Why are you in my vicinity? I only want people who rock with me. But I'm telling you, in my mind, when I wake up in the morning, I'm on the grind. Like, this is it. Me against the world, and I'm winning. Like, that's how I feel every day. And I get on the internet, and I see these people who want to do this for a living. And it irks me because I'll see people say stuff like, you're bothering me right now. I'm at work. Or just, I'll talk to you on my break. Or they'll be making a video and they'll be in a uniform. They'll be making a video and they'll be in their suit and tie for work. I can't relate, bro. I'm in the 1%. I figured out a way to do this for a living for my life. And nothing else. This ain't a side hustle. This is real work. And this is why it's unmatched. And this is why some of you will be like, man, how does Rico know all this shit? Well, bro, I'm not studying players in the portal in my spare time. It's my whole day. I woke up this morning, laid around in bed. I was playing a game on my phone. My girl left. She went to work real quick. She didn't leave me for good. Come on now. She'll be back. She went to work. I'm chilling. Take a shower. Enjoy my day. Hang out with my dog for a little bit. And I look at the clock and I go, you know what? It's about time to jump online. Go do my thing. Well, what's that? Well, make content all day. That's right. I read sports. I read information. I assess it all day long. I'm telling you. It is what it is. If you want to be great at this, number one, you got to have talent. You got to have the ability to convey a message, be coherent in your execution and your delivery, and understand that stuttering doesn't work for you. A speech impediment is not cool unless you make it like, sports with a lisp. And you got a lisp, and then you can go own that shit, right? And people be like, hey, did you hear about sports with a lisp? That's pretty cool stuff. But the reality is you have to have a gift. You have to have a certain way of carrying yourself. If you get on here, you're like, nah, yo, cut. Like people, not everyone's going to rock with that. Not everybody's going to resonate with that. So you can speak intelligently, right? You can also understand where certain people are coming from. I wanted to do music reviews, music reactions, blind music reactions for my content initially. I thought, man, that'll be my best channel because I listen to everything. I got this. I'm going to rock, and I'm going to break down all these bars. And then I noticed people are missing bars. People don't get bars. They're subliminal shit. They don't even know what's going on. I was like, oh my God, I'm done. I'll lose everything. You think I don't have a lot of hair right now? I'll lose all my hair if I got to sit down and digest these rap bars and try to explain to people what a double is and why he said this and what this meant and how back far this beef goes and this. I just can't deal with it. It's too much to try to explain to everybody. They don't get it. And that's why initially I was reaching out to those guys. What are their names? Lost in Vegas. Yeah, Ryan and then forgot his name, the little dude. I initially thought, man, I could do that. I'll be the Mexican version of them. I got this. Nah. I'm RicoKnows. I found my own niche. And what I want to tell you guys want advice on how to become better content creators before we get into this transfer portal thing. Content. That's how you become a better content creator. Content. Put out 100 videos. I tell everybody the same story. I made 1,000 videos before I ever made $1. I made 1,000 videos that none of you watched. Before I ever got to 20,000, I'm at, right now, I think total followers on all platforms, I'm over 225,000. And what I'll tell you is, it's not enough. 225,000, and it's not enough. Not enough people know my greatness. That's how I feel, man. That's how I get down. I don't give a shit. And I think that there are 100 songs from Chris Brown you've never heard. Yep. I think there's 100 songs unreleased by every great artist that you've never heard. I'm not saying they're all great. I'm saying they had to do those before they became great. And I know you don't think it's real. I know you guys think, no, I can just make a video, it's going to go viral. That's not how it works, man. You make a video and you think it's going to pop. And you think it's going to go viral. And you do everything right, and it doesn't pop. The first time I started getting 1 million views on a video, I have what? I think 10 videos with 1 million views on them. I don't even care. I don't even care. What I do not want to try to predict when lightning's going to strike. I would much rather predict whether or not it's going to rain. Like, they do this in the NFL draft too, and they do this in recruiting. Everybody tries to find lightning in a bottle. So they identify some type of potential, and they look at a player and they search certain traits, and they're like, that's the guy, he's going to be this, he's going to be that, we're going to get that lightning in a bottle. And I don't prescribe to that. I think if you're a scout or a recruiter, you should be looking for individuals that aren't busts. You should be able to identify who is not going to make it. Stop trying to identify the Hall of Famer and just tell me who isn't going to make your final 53. Instead of trying to guess where lightning strikes, just tell me if it's bad. And if you change your mindset in that regard, when you're doing content creation, you don't need something to pop. That doesn't get you paid. Not long term. Look, man, you can make a viral video. If you get the views on it, you'll make a couple $100. Seriously, you make a couple $100, and you make a viral video. You go viral, make a couple $100. How does that pay your bills 6, 7, 8 months later? It's like anybody out there, yo, I'm gonna get a bag, I'm gonna get 10,000. How does that pay your bills any months later? Right? So when I started doing content creation, and my first check I ever got was $1,400, I didn't think that was great. It was cool. It pays a car note, whatever you do in your life. I don't know. I don't have debt, so I don't pay stuff like that. So I'm just saying it pays for something. That's cool. That's not how I get down. That's not how I envision. The first time I did a high school film review, I want to tell you the first tip I ever got on a high school film review was $12. I got $12 to do a high school film review. And all I thought was, well, that took me 30 minutes to make it. If I get another $12, I'll be at $24 an hour doing something I love. That's pretty cool. That's how it starts. You grind, and you learn from your mistakes, and you learn from your strategy and your approach, and you get better, man. Like, you learn how to do your graphics properly. You learn how to label your videos. You learn how to hashtag them. You learn what works and what doesn't work, what time to post them, when not to post them, what to say in the first 10 seconds, what not to say. You know, I used to make videos and save my final talking point, the most important part of the video, for the very end. Because I thought people would watch it and then get to the very end and I'd have something thought-provoking, and then that would cause them to write comments and stick around and all this stuff. No, bro, that's not how it works. You start the video and you don't say it right away, they don't even watch till the very end. I went and checked my algorithm. I went and checked my analytics. It just went, choo, nobody's there at the end. So nobody knows what I said at the end. They missed it all. Everybody missed it. I got to fix myself. And you learn by studying and applying yourself, but you will not learn this if you're making videos after work. You will not learn this if you're making videos in your spare time. Nope. You need to be all in. That needs to be your primary, if you want to be great. If you want to do this for a living, if you want to do it to the point where you don't need anybody else. There's no such thing as canceling me. I made it myself. Like, I am my own person. I have my own people. I got my own platform. You can't cancel me. That's the way you got to create yourself. Like when YouTube suspended my account for 3 months and they said, well, you're not going to make $20,000 this month. I remember that. And I remember feeling helpless in a moment because somebody just took, it was like $25,000 from me. And all I had to do was find a different platform, tell my people I'm over here now, and I didn't lose any money. And that made me realize, oh, YouTube can't hold me back. These platforms can't hold me back. I can go anywhere and make it. You have no leverage if you don't have content. Let me put it like this. Y'all ever had like a favorite music artist? Tell me you had a favorite music artist and that music artist has a hit song. I don't know. Let's do Craig David. Y'all remember Craig David? Maybe you don't know Craig David. I love Craig David. Back in the day, Craig David, rendezvous, my place, your place, on to some shit like that. 7 days. He was counting down every day of the week. Craig David was on point. I'm not going to a Craig David concert. You know why? Because I only know like 5 of his songs. You want to go to a Juvenile concert? Why don't you go to a Juvenile concert? Because he got 2 songs. Back that ass up. I'm telling you. No, he had an album down in the South. You know, we used to, whatever. All you No Limit fans make me sick, by the way. You guys are the reason some dude named 2 something was famous. 2 Scoops, whatever his name was. I'm laughing. But 2 Chainz. So my point is this, is if you have a favorite artist, like they don't even have enough hit songs to be your favorite artist. You can't even go to their concert. They got to do concerts with 13 other people because they don't even have enough airtime for their song. They're one-hit wonders. So if you make content so rarely and it's decent, but you go viral with 1 video and you don't have any other content, nobody's going to your page every day. Nobody's rocking with you. You don't have enough hits to make me want to hear all your shit. You don't have enough to be my favorite artist. You guys understand what I'm saying? So if you're a content creator and you're not creating enough content for your fan base to consume, you'll never make it. You'll never make it, man. There's guys on the radio every day. People listen to them every single day. You gotta have a catalog. You gotta go deep. And for those of you out there who want to be able to do this for a living, I'm telling you, dedicate yourself to your craft. You get better with time. You know, hey, what's good, Lightwork? I see Lightwork right now on TikTok. So I'm on YouTube right now, my bad. But shout out to my boy Lightwork. I'm going to tell you this, and I can see it in other content creators. I'll shout out to Lightwork here. This is a man with 300,000 followers on TikTok. And I can see videos from a year ago when he posts them. I look at it and go, oh, damn. We thought that was popping a year ago. I thought I did it right a year ago. I watched some of my old videos from a year ago and I go, man, I was bad. That was not good. Because you get better with reps. You get better with time. Now, practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent, right? So if you're doing the wrong thing over and over and over, it could get worse. But if you're perfecting your craft and actually applying yourself, you can look at an old video of yours and be like, yo, I'm so much better. I learned how to do my graphics. I learned when to cut them off. I learned when to not make a comment appear for the whole time. I was blocking my face here. I did this wrong. I didn't do this right dialogue. I cut the video here. Editing was off. All kinds of shit you learn as you go. And that's essential to being successful as a content creator. It really is. And I'm sorry that I started talking about this and not getting in the transfer portal. I'll get to the transfer portal. But I had somebody ask me, Rico, I want to do this for a living. How did you make it? And number one, first thing I'll say is an immense amount of reps. I was posting 10, 15 videos a day. What? Yes, 10 or 15 videos a day. Never concerned with the view count. Concerned with my reps, concerned with what I'm doing. I need to do that better. I need to redo this. And now you guys see me, and everybody, you guys see me on live. You guys all tell me, you guys all bust the joke. Hey, Rico does that in one take. Rico's one take, one take, one take. Yes, I'm one take. I haven't always been one take. There's TikTokers out there who think I do a video and it takes me 20 takes, 30 takes. You guys see me create them now on live, and it's one take. It hasn't always been like that. You ever heard a freestyle rapper? You ever heard a rapper when they're not on script, when they get off the pocket, when they're out of pocket, when they can't hit their flow? They sound real good when they're scripted, but they ain't that gifted. They got to go off the top of the dome. They look ridiculous. I've seen them fall off that shit. I've seen it, man, and it's bad. So it happens to everyone in every craft. But it don't happen to me, man. Reps and reps and reps. Preparation is the key. But you cannot be great at this without content. Make a shit ton of content and find people who are rocking with you. Like, that's how you get famous. Like, that's how you make it, bro. If you have an opinion on something, instead of writing in somebody's comments about it, screenshot it, put it as your background, and start talking. And listen to what I just said. Screenshot it, put it as your background, and start talking. Do you know how many videos I have where I didn't have what I was talking about in my background? I know. Because I went my first 2,000 videos on TikTok not knowing how to put a 3D background behind me when talking. Not knowing how to put a blue screen backdrop behind me when talking. I was so envious of everybody who knows how to do these things. I had to teach myself how to use the different features. I didn't know how to layer music in. I didn't know how to layer this in. I didn't know how to... The reps got me there. Like, you do the amount of reps. It's not like I instantly showed up on my first video. It was great. And listen, there's people who do a bunch of edits and they use CapCut and they add captions and they do this. But there's something more authentic for me. What matters to me is time. Time matters to me. Your favorite artist, when they're making music, let's say Adele's your favorite artist. How often is Adele putting out new music? She puts out an album and then she goes on tour for 2 years and you don't get any new music. And even Jay-Z and Drake, they'll get in the studio. They'll get into studio time. They'll find a producer that'll play a bunch of beats for them. Then they'll do the song. They don't know when it's getting cut, remixed, engineered. They don't know when it's getting pushed to Apple Music or Spotify. They don't know. They made that shit 6 months ago and it finally got through the label and everything and it went, right? I make content every day, and the greatest thing I have is that I can post it immediately. I don't need to cut nothing. I don't need to edit a damn thing. I'm not waiting on my graphics guy. I'm not waiting on this guy. I'm not doing it. Nope, let's get it out right now. I don't even wait 5 minutes. I get frustrated sometimes. I'm adding all my hashtags and stuff. I'm like, man, this took me 3 minutes. Because instant reactions and instant gratification and instant responses is the advantage that we have over SportsCenter. It used to be something would happen in sports, you'd have to wait for the paper the next day. You used to have to wait for SportsCenter at 5 p.m. or 8 a.m. You were waiting for the recap. Now, something goes wrong, something happens in the world of sports, you're rushing to Twitter. Well, people are rushing to TikTok. People are rushing to Twitter and TikTok. And what I want to tell you guys is you're going to start by giving your opinion, giving your takes, making your videos on TikTok. And the first thing you're going to run into is opposition. First thing you're going to run into is people saying, who asked for this? Why are you talking about this? Who cares? Who are you? What are you? And you can't let that shit bother you at all. You just push right through that. Push right through the hate. Push right through anybody telling you you ain't shit. Let me tell you, last night I had a guy write on one of my videos, he said, where did Rico play? Where did Rico coach? Why does he know more than all these coaches? Why anybody listen to this guy? Where did he play? Where did he coach? And the only thing I want to ask you guys is, have you ever been in a movie? I don't think any of you have been in a movie. But if you watch the movie, you know terrible acting. You know some shitty movies out there. You're not an actor. You've never been in a movie. You don't know how to act, but you can observe it, dissect it, and say, that's some terrible ass acting. As a matter of fact, it's so bad because I'm comparing it to other people. I've seen other people do it right. You're doing this shit wrong. Same could be said for what? Driving? Cooking? You ever had some terrible tasting food? I'm not a great cook. I'm good. I'm a good cook. Let me get this straight. I could cook. I'm not the best cook in the world. But if I taste food and it tastes like shit or it looks terrible, I can't say anything because I can't do better myself. You tripping. So when you're assessing results and looking at things, I don't care if you've ever done it before. There are NFL greats who've never played football. NFL great coaches. Sonny Dykes had TCU in the national championship. Sonny Dykes has never played football. He's a head coach at a Power 4 program. Like, you guys haven't done your research when you talk to me like that. But don't ever let somebody get you down when you say what you say. Like when you say, hey, man, you know, you put your information out there and somebody starts ripping you and telling you don't know what you're talking about. Just never forget. They have a platform too. They should just go to their page, create their take, and see if anybody's rocking with them. And if you get enough people supporting your ideas and your thought process, the sky's the limit. That's how you become great at this game. That's how you become great at the game, is find your people and keep rocking and don't let anybody discourage you. Enough of that. I want to thank you guys for being here. Shout out to anybody in the chat. I'm going to pull it up before I get into the transfer portal. I am doing questions and answers on the transfer portal. Sorry for everybody who's watching. Shout out to you guys on TikTok. If you got a question about the transfer portal, come over to YouTube, drop it in the chat. I'll eventually get to it. I promise. It is what it is. But let's go look at, I'm going to have the transfer portal up. I'm going to go through the players. I'm going to talk about a few here and there, not all of them. And then I'm going to answer your guys' questions. I'll do a 10 or whatever it is. So let's go. First and foremost, I can interact with this, I believe. Let me try something. How do I do this before? I've done this many times, y'all. I'm tripping right now. That's what it is. There we go. Interact. I just want to make sure I can scroll the chat and go with it. Terrell757, what up, Terrell? He says, working early today. I'm working early every single day. I just don't get on TikTok or YouTube Live or TikTok Live this early. I do TikTok Live this early, but, it is what it is. I need people to understand that I'm always working. It's just here I wanted to have a Q&A with you guys earlier this morning, try to appease the fans and hang out. Corey Bingham says, YouTube, but damn sure don't know anything else. I'm just effing with you, Rico. Oh, Rico knows YouTube, but damn. Yeah, I don't even mess with YouTube like that. YouTube is a side hustle. I don't stress YouTube. I stress my Patreon. I stress the MVPs. I stress my living. YouTube's just, I'm going to post some shit on there. Mr. Mike and Ike, good to see you again. Remember the name from last night. Good morning, Rico. Looking forward to learning more about some players today. Sorry for the long tangent about content creation. Just some people were asking and I wanted to help them out. Terrell says, I'm that guy in my circle of friends. I have ex-NFL players in my circle. Yeah, man. It's pretty remarkable, right? I was a journalist. I used to be a sports writer for a newspaper back in the early 2000s. And in my circle were all these sports writers for a long time. And now it's just 14-year-olds on TikTok. It's ridiculous. I'm not on the level of Rico because I'm not getting paid for it. There you go, Terrell. Good morning. Did you the scouting on Edwards from Colorado? Did you the scouting on, I don't know what that means, the ferret. You're going to have to let me know what that means. Never let them see you sweat, bro. Yeah, man. Never let them see you sweat. But at the same time, Bro Moment Studios, I want you to remember this. Sometimes letting people see you sweat or letting people see your other side, being vulnerable with your fan base, can make you human, right? Make you human and make you personal. Like, you don't know Joe Klatt. You don't know the real behind some of these talking heads. They just go to a studio and talk. You don't know their personalities indirectly or directly and deep down inside. So it's something to think about, okay? It is what it is. Morning, Big Rico. Thank you much. Shout out to you, Rodrigo. Mr. Lightwork. I went through that as well. Yeah. We all go through that, man. People just hating on you initially. Mike McDaniel never played either. Mike McDaniel actually, I believe he was a wide receiver at Yale. I don't want to be wrong, okay, Nick? But I think he played wide receiver at Yale. Somebody fact check me on that. Rico knows. Saul Berger left Michigan State and Lynch Adams from UMass transferred in. Any thoughts on him? So Carson K, I talked about this the other day. So I knew Kyron Lynch Adams was leaving UMass a while ago. I have an insider at UMass reached out to me in my DMs on Twitter and told me he was leaving, said he was leaving for Ohio State. Obviously was in contact with Ohio State's NIL. It appears Michigan State's paying more. But Kyron Lynch Adams is a good running back. He really is. It's unfortunate for Michigan State to lose some of their running backs because they have a good running back room. Right? They have the little guy. Nathan Carter. Nate Carter came in from UConn, and he's a good back, and he's 200 pounds. Remember, they're looking for power backs. The way Michigan State coaches and the way they identify their run game is the way they did it at Oregon State. 3 guys all over 6 feet, all over 200 pounds. They're going to move the chains, and they're going to run you over. Michigan State's going to be very blue-collar. Seeing Kyron Lynch Adams makes sense. Very good player. I'm not going to do a whole highlight film on him. I'm just going to tell you he's been good for a while. UMass had a good running back, and it's unfortunate they lost him. I think UMass is going to get a replacement in the coming weeks, but it's not going to be Kyron Lynch Adams. Like, Lynch Adams is a good player, and he always has been. As far as Berger goes, I don't know where Berger goes. So, congratulations. Welcome to the portal. More like Kansas State. His dad played there. Alex Java, I'm assuming you're talking about Dylan Edwards going to Kansas State. You know, some players want to go to their alma mater, their dad's alma mater. Some players want to play for their dad. Some players will go where they have relationships with coaching staffs. Go to which team will prepare you for the NFL. There's a whole lot of reasons to go different places. What I would say is K-State has a good history with running backs. They tend to rotate them well. They do good with undersized running backs that fly, Darren Sproles and Deuce, right? So Deuce Vaughn. So they have a tendency to find diamonds in the rough and the little guys that can go. It makes sense to go to K-State. Yes, he played there as a kid. He knows some of the teammates and his players. Makes sense, man. It doesn't It doesn't affect me either way. If you're talking to me on TikTok, you move over to YouTube, put your question in, I will answer it. Which Colorado current roster do you think they can win at least 6 games? DQ, with Colorado's current roster, do I think they can win at least 6 games? What I'll tell you guys is I give win predictions to the MVPs. And they are fluid. I will say that the over-under for them was 4.5 initially, then it went up to 5.5. Shout out to Vegas for trying to fix themselves and get it right. Initially, I told all the MVPs, jump on the over 4.5 immediately. I think the starting 22 for Colorado is very comparable to anybody else. What will happen is over the season, people will get injured. Things will go wrong. That happens. I think it's hard to tell whether or not they're going to win 6 games. I think they're going to have a really difficult November. But I don't want to give out answers that I give to people who pay me, so I won't go in any further than that. I'll just tell you that at least 6 games sounds like a daunting task at this point. At least 6 games, or at most 6 games. I don't know. You're under the impression they're going to win 8, 9, 10 games. Like it's fucking bananas. All right, I'm just being real. King John says John Emery Jr. to Colorado makes sense. What do you think, Rico? Well, it makes sense because Colorado only has a couple of running backs on the roster. If you guys don't know, John Emery Jr., former 5-star running back from LSU, been there a while. And the thing about it is John Emery Jr. made a comment. I don't know why you guys are retracting I don't know what you guys are retracting messages for. He's been there a while, but what people need to understand is he was actually, I think he was forced out at LSU because he wrote on a comment, I didn't want to leave, or it wasn't my choice. And he's not a 5-star kid. Like, he's been around for a long time. He's just not 5 stars. They mislabeled him. He was incorrectly put. But does he make sense for Colorado? Yeah. Anybody who can show up and play makes sense for Colorado. They're not looking for building blocks. They're not looking for young players to recruit and build. They're looking for players to plug and play right now. I think people misunderstand how to succeed with the transfer portal. It is not meant to replace recruiting. It is meant to augment your roster. Like, you still need a roster. You still need players. You still need to develop your players. You can just fill in some of the gaps and some of the places you missed in recruiting. Let me explain that again. If you missed in recruiting by misevaluating a certain position group, then you go get an accomplished player from that particular position group. Yeah, that's how it's done. So an example would be tight ends. Ole Miss struggles at evaluating tight ends coming out of high school. They don't find the right ones. Any tight end sides with them, it doesn't quite measure up and get it done. But then they go and get Caden Prescorn from Memphis, right? He comes in, and he's a baller. And they're like, yo, we found one. Yeah, man, you found one because you missed in recruiting. So if you miss in recruiting, like, that happens. You have to find replacements, and that's when you use the transfer portal. If you missed in recruiting, Georgia wide receivers are just not good. They found 1 or 2, but they've been missing a lot. So what do? They hit the transfer portal and find replacements. That's how that's done. So if you missed in recruiting in a particular position group, you go hit the transfer portal. If you don't recruit at all and you think you're building your team off of transfers, the fuck are we doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not it. Just so we're clear. That's not it. Dylan will end up in Kansas or somewhere close to home. Correct. Noff Side Spankum says, good morning. I think OU is closing in on Dominic Williams. What do you think about Venables and his recruiting? Okay. So Dominic Williams coming over from TCU defensive lineman, going to OU or Oklahoma. What do I think about Venables and his recruiting? Well, Venables has always had an ability to recruit. I think he's doing well there. What I have concern with is his ability to develop his players and get the most out of them. I think he's just struggling with certain things in that regard. It doesn't work for me. Did Reggie Bush just get back his Heisman? Somebody said this. I'm sorry, I just got interrupted in mid-show, and they told me Reggie Bush got back his Heisman. I like Venables as a recruiter, not as a coach. Reggie Bush, Heisman. Are you saying get it back? Exclusive, Reggie Bush is getting his Heisman Trophy back. ESPN has learned with a formal reinstatement of the trophy coming today. The decision comes amid what the Heisman Trust calls enormous changes in college football landscape. Well, that doesn't matter. Well, that doesn't fucking matter. I gotta get off the live, y'all. You guys can stick around. I'm gonna stay on YouTube Live, I guess. We'll get back to the show here in a bit. I gotta record a video. Give me a second. How am I gonna do this while I stay on live? Sorry, y'all. We're gonna do this. Can't stay on live here. You got to make a video, man. It's Reggie Bush. So Reggie Bush getting back his Heisman. Thank you guys for telling me this. Number one, you guys can watch me make this video in real time. This is how I get down. Reggie Bush getting his Heisman back. Boom. But I already told you guys, this doesn't matter to me.
What a family.
Hey, TikTok, RicoKnows here. Hey, I'm doing my live stream for YouTube. Somebody sends me a message and says, hey, Rico, Reggie Bush getting back his Heisman. So it's breaking news. Reggie's getting back his Heisman. Let me tell you guys this. I don't care that he's getting back his Heisman. This is terrible still. And for those of you who get in the comments, Rico doesn't know, this is a bad take. You're not listening to me, okay? Listen. Getting back your Heisman from the Touchdown Club or the Heisman Trust does not matter. What matters is the NCAA has not reinstated any of his records. So until I hear the NCAA has reinstated his yards, his touchdowns, and he's actually in the record books, and USC gets back all their wins, this doesn't matter. Okay? This is some third-party company out there who gives out the Heisman every year. They're not the NCAA, and they decided, we'll give him back his Heisman. And all you guys are going to celebrate this, and it's pretty cool. Yeah, he got it. But he's still not in the record books. They still wiped him clean from USC history. Think about that for a second. He is not in any record books. The NCAA controls that. Go back and look at the stats. He's not there. You just see Lindo White's touchdowns, and magically USC never scored. Reggie Bush needs back his stats. He needs to be reinstated by the NCAA, not the fucking Touchdown Club, not the Heisman Trust. I've never been one to talk like this. I want his records back. There's not a bigger Reggie Bush fan. There's not. Me? There's none bigger than me. I still want his shit back. And it ain't about this fucking trophy. Sorry about that. People don't understand the issue. Hey, TikTok, RicoKnows here. Hey, I'm doing my live stream for YouTube. And that's one take. And that's what we do. Let's go Reggie Bush. Let's go USC. Heisman. RicoKnows. Reggie Bush getting back his Heisman. Congratulations to Reggie. Growing up in Southern California, playing in the Southern section, I'm about 4 years older than Reggie Bush. We really cared about Reggie Bush. Yeah. Reggie Bush is a big deal to us. Sorry about that. Sorry for all the dead air. You guys know I don't get down like that.
I'm here with Sergeant.
Let's go. All right, we're gonna plug back in, get back locked and loaded, get back on live. We're just hanging out, dude. We're vlogging on YouTube all day. I don't give a shit. Personally, don't care. People will get mad. People will tell me Rico doesn't know. People don't understand. All right. Plugged in, locked in, back on the live stream. Shout out to whoever told me that. I didn't see the name. I'm sorry. I saw it on a comment there, and it caught me off guard. I will get back into the chat here shortly, and we'll keep talking about the players. Let's go. Sorry. Yeah, so you asked about Dominic Williams going and Venables. Yeah, it's a match made in heaven. Venables just needs to win games and learn how to coach the offensive side of the ball. He's great defensively, so it is what it is in that regard. Nicholas Blystone says, what up, Nick, by the way? Nick is an MVP. Shout out to him. Nick says, I stand corrected, Rico, Yale receiver, but has no stats there. Yeah, man, I don't care if he played or not. That was still an FCS-level football player. I don't know if he was a walk-on or what, but I know he played college football, got exposure to the game at a higher echelon than most, and he learned from it. And he's a smart mind, right? He's a smart guy. So that's one of those things that I believe in. I'm cool with that. Sorry, guys. I got to interact with this chat real quick. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Excuse me. Thoughts on Memphis this year? Shout out to Martin. Martin's asking about my thoughts on Memphis this year. So it's a group of 5 team in the American, and most people wouldn't be able to just go off the cuff and talk about every single team in America. And then I don't know what questions are coming. I don't know where we're going with this. So I got to just sit here and be prepared to answer any question. So I'm tap dancing, and I'm going to pretend like I know Memphis so I can seem like some expert out there. So first and foremost, there's not a talking head on TV anywhere that knows more about Memphis than me. There's not a person in this world that is a bigger fan of Memphis than me. Nah, not having it. So I've been in Seth Hennigan's corner for 3 years now. I really believe in Seth Hennigan as a quarterback. I think he's one of the best in the country. If you don't believe me, go to Twitter and do a search for Memphis RicoKnows TikTok, all one word, and you will see all the posts I've made about Memphis. I think Memphis is the best group of 5 team in America. I think Memphis is probably the most potent offense. I don't give a shit who you're stacking them up against. Seth Hennigan is him. Blumpkin C is one of the best receivers I've seen, pound for pound, so fast, doing everything. Rock Taylor is an amazing wide receiver. Bringing in Jair Shorter from Auburn / North Texas. Awesome wide receiver. I love everything about Memphis. I think Sutton's going to be a good running back this year. I love Mario Anderson coming in from Newberry, from South Carolina, transferring in. I love there's nothing I don't love about Memphis. There's nothing. I did have problems with their defense last year. I thought they gave them too many points, but they can score with anyone, and they'll be great. I love Memphis. Ask the MVPs. Talk about them all the time. I got receipts for days, for years now. I think that people who don't know about Seth Hennigan and that team, they don't know football. They're casuals. So I appreciate the question. Shout out to you, Martin. Thanks for knowing. I'm assuming you know how good Memphis is, and that's why you're asking. Corey Flores says, what's good, Rico? Spreading positivity. Always, Corey Flores. I appreciate you. Nubin, yo. Doe says, Rico, talk about Texas Longhorns. Texas Longhorns, one of the best teams in America, have a lot of returning talent worth talking about, have a lot of NFL caliber players, and they're too deep. Probably a lock for the playoffs. Texas Longhorns, maybe the best team in the SEC. What else do you want me to say? That's all there is to it. They're very good. Prime is using the transfer portal to build his team. Yikes. The transfer portal is used for replacements, not to build a team from scratch. Well, yeah, I want to tell you guys, there's some teams out there. Let me explain something to you. Last offseason, there were teams using the transfer portal to build their team. You had teams like Colorado, Texas State, Charlotte. Those are the big 3. Arizona State. And you're going to improve. But the fastest way to fix an issue at work is you need a culture shift. And I shouldn't have said the fastest way. There is no fast way to change the culture of a team. Please understand what I'm saying. Like, if you went to work and you had a problem employee and you got rid of that problem employee and you replaced them with a new employee, but the culture of your business doesn't change, you're going to have a problem with another employee. And you're going to continue to have these problems. The hardest thing to change is culture. So you see Charlotte bring in all these transfers. They don't have a winning culture. Texas State is about to take a step back. They won 8 games last year because they brought in all these transfers. Didn't have a winning culture, and you didn't build upon it. A bunch of guys left, hit the portal, bounced, lost your offensive coordinator. Arizona State brought in a bunch of good players. Got to have a winning culture. And you got to keep building. But it starts with recruiting. It starts with the evaluation of talent and the players. And not just signing bodies to fit your 85. Right? You want your best 85, not just filling up your 85. And last year, you were just filling up your 85. So there are teams that use the transfer portal to augment their rosters. I'm talking about Louisville. I'm talking about Florida State. Hell, even Georgia did it. LSU's done it. There's ways to do this, and rebuilding your roster is one thing, but you need to change the culture. And that might mean you need to change coaches. You can't bring in people who don't do the job right. That's how I feel. Rico, I don't think Colorado's method of team building is sustainable for building a good program. Hopefully they can begin to bring in talent and retain them like good programs. Yeah, Mike and Ike, it's pretty self-explanatory. I think that's obvious. If you look at the national champions or teams that are in the national championship conversation, they're not built off the transfer portal. They augment with the transfer portal for sure, but they're just winning because they can retain their talent, they can develop their talent, and more importantly, they identify talent coming out of high school. It's a lot easier to keep a kid when you have a relationship with them. Trust. Listen, those people who married their high school sweethearts, I'm not saying it's right, but they're not breaking up. They're going to stick it out. They're going to go through thick and thin. But if you just met this girl last week off a dating app, you don't know her like that. You ain't going to stick it out. There is no thick and thin. She got to go. See the difference? That's where I'm at on that. I don't care about that at all. I don't know what that means. 5-star review. You're going to have to be more specific when you write in comments by the time I get to it, okay? He finna turn Danny Stutzman from undrafted free agent to mid-round pick. I think Danny Stutzman was always a mid-round pick. I don't think Danny Stutzman was ever an undrafted free agent. He's a good linebacker. So let's get that out there right now. Let's change that narrative. I didn't think it would happen. Didn't even think he was on their radar. Happy for him. Not sure who you're talking about, New. Rico, did you see Memphis got FedEx as an NIL sponsor? I did. Congratulations to them. Expect some big players coming in. No, not necessarily, Nubian. I believe that money's going to be for their basketball team, for the most part. My logic is we've accomplished a lot with little to no NIL. I think this really makes us contenders. Yeah, once again, I don't think so. I think it's for basketball. I think the football team is in the American. They need to win the American and be competitive in the American and be grateful for the money they're making in the American. And that's about it. That's it. Hope they make it to the playoffs. Make a shit ton of money, though. Mr. Mike and I think it's the beginning of a new way that things will be done. So Silverback Racing TV is under the impression that it's the beginning of the way things will be done, meaning you will go to the recruiting, you will do transfer portal. Colorado's leading the way in this new way of doing things. That's not true. Not at all. Michigan just won the national title with only 5 transfers in their 2 deep. They were homegrown. Georgia won the national title before that and before that and before that. All homegrown stuff. And what people need to understand is when you start seeing teams get transfers and then their fan base goes, yeah, this is the way it's going. This is the way it is in the future. No. There are teams signing 25 recruits out of high school. And those teams are retaining 20 of them. You just have to make sure you don't lose your talent. The one thing that's not done, the one thing that's not going to be done moving forward is signing 4 or 5, let's just say it, signing 5 4-star players in your recruiting class and then losing 80% of them within the year. That's not happening anywhere else. The other thing that's not being done is teams are not losing their starting running back and all their star recruits after spring football. Nope. You'll lose them in the winter so you can replace them and still have a starting running back for the spring ball. But not a lot of teams are losing their starting running back after spring football. Only Colorado. And the fan base will then say, oh, that wasn't our starting running back. We found another one. Yeah, I know. You found another one who isn't starting at his previous school. But he's great. I know. He's one of the best you've ever seen. It doesn't even make sense. The logic behind some of these statements blow my mind, and it's people don't understand. The new norm is you making excuses for substandard activity. I already told you guys, man. Every new coach starts with an A in my book. I give them an A from day one. I believe them, trust them. Good luck to what they're doing. And then with every single day, your grade drops. It's school, bro. And you're either an A student, B student, C student, whatever you are. And in this case, some of these decisions being made, look, you got to convince players to stay. And that could be with your scheme. That could be with coaching selections, how you evaluate talent and how you develop the talent and enable them and empower them. You know why my girl don't leave me? You know why my girl doesn't leave me? It's not because I give her so much playing time. It's not because I spend all my time with her. She doesn't leave me because I'm not looking for somebody else. Because I have the hope and dream of building a franchise, of building something, a foundation of greatness. Let's say you got a girl, man. Let's say you got a girl and you want to have a great relationship with her. She has options. She can go other places. Everyone on the internet's telling you, oh, there's all these new ways to find partners now. There's all these dating apps. They don't need to stick around. It's 2024. She don't need to be faithful. She can do this. She can do that. You know when my girl stays with me? Because I'm not looking for somebody else. If you want your players to stay in the program and stay with you and you want to build something great, stop looking for somebody else. It's the number one way to do it. Promise. Or you can look at Michigan State and Kyron Lynch-Adams, who just showed up from UMass, and then you lose 2 running backs on your depth chart. You think there's a problem in the running back room? No. You think those players don't want to compete? No. You were in a relationship with those 2 players, and you kept looking for something else. And now you got something else. Now you got something new. You got a UMass kid coming in. Does he know the playbook? Nope. Does he know how you get down? Nope. Do you know how hard he works? Nope. This is like finding a new girl off a dating app, and now you guys got to relearn each other and shit. And you don't even know each other's tendencies. You don't even know how each other act. You're sitting at, have you ever been to dinner? You ever been to dinner with your wife or your significant other, and you see somebody else on a first date, and you look over at them, you're like, ugh, that shit's rough, bruh. They're sitting there talking, discovering shit about each other. Dude's sitting there like, well, I got a daughter, shit like that. And you're like, damn, that shit. They're gonna be together? That's a rough dinner. I'm with my girl, man. We're just eating. And guess what? I know my girl so well I could order the food for her. I know she wants no pickles, no onions. I know she wants extra cheese. I know she wants extra napkins. I know she needs 2 Sprites and a refill. I know my girl. That's the problem with these football teams. They're not in loyal relationships. They're not trying to build a relationship. They're not trying to sustain a relationship. They're too busy looking at the turf. They're too busy looking at the grass on the other side of the fence, and it's fake. It's turf. They're not doing it right, man. At some point, you just got to look down at your roster and say, I'm going to develop what I got here. Everybody out there wants a girl with a BBL. Everybody out there wants this supermodel looking blah, blah, blah. You see it, guys. You see it on TikTok and Twitter and YouTube. And I don't have Instagram, but you see it on Instagram. Dudes will be in the comments like, oh, I would wife her. I'd be wifeying her. And you're just looking like, no, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. You don't even know anything about this chick. Shit probably smells like tuna, bruh. Like, she don't smell like water. Plies was talking about it, man. You guys are picking the wrong people. You don't even know their work ethic. You don't even know their commitment to the game. You're just looking at their highlight tape. You're just looking at their shorts, their reel, their twerking video. You don't even know what they want to do. You don't even know how long they want to be there. It's real, and it's disgusting. You don't want to develop these players. You don't want to develop that relationship. Good morning, Rico. Thank you for the content. Oh, shout out to you, David. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. David in Arizona has been around for a long time. You guys see him with a badge there. He's been a supporter of the channel for a year at least. Let me go back to the chat here. My logic, got it. Just saw on ESPN Reggie Bush is getting back his Heisman Trophy. Will H, thanks for not watching my TikTok. I already posted a video on it. I think it's beginning on the new ways of doing things. Hey, Rico, I don't know if you saw Florida State spring game, but do you think DJU will be able to bring FSU to a playoff berth? Sup, it's a duck. Sup, it's a duck. Do I think Florida State's going to get to a playoff berth? If you were an MVP, you'd know, because I already did my review on Florida State. Or maybe I haven't. Yeah, I have. I did a review on Florida State. So I don't want to give away my opinion on wins or losses or win totals, but if you want to make it to the playoffs, you're going to have to win at least 10 regular season games at a minimum. Okay, because there's nobody ranked in the top 12 with only 10 wins. If you look at last year, nobody was in the top 10 with only 10 wins. You can't even do that. So you need more than 10, and I think that's a ridiculous. I'm going to say this: in the ACC, Florida State's like the third or fourth best team to me. Let me just put it like that. I think Florida State's the third or fourth best team in the ACC next season. The third or fourth best team in the ACC. Do what you want with that. If you think 4 teams or 3 teams from the ACC are going to the playoffs, then that's on you. Okay, fair. Shout out to you. Mr. Mike and Ike says, Rico, in your opinion, has Georgia Tech received any high-impact transfers? I like their 2024 high school signing class. I'm just hoping they're competitive in conference play. Mike and Ike, they'll be competitive in conference play. They have Haynes King, and he's very, very good. They have good players. Their transfer portal class. Let's go to school. Let's go to ACC and Georgia Tech. And let's see what they have. So Gabe Fortson leaving. It's unfortunate. It's just an interior offensive lineman. Jack Barton leaving. This is a transfer who just showed up out of Furman. I made a declaration back in the winter that this was a terrible transfer. I thought it was one of the worst defensive lineman transfers. I believe I ranked it number 8 on my bottom 10 moves. I just thought he wasn't good enough to play at Georgia Tech. Does not look like a good player. And sure enough, he's leaving, and now he's going to where? UConn? Congratulations. Eddie Kelly. Unfortunate to lose him, and I want to say this. It's a little alarming that they lost 3 defensive linemen in 2 days. And Ayo Tafasi here, this guy down here, is a transfer from Florida State. He just transferred in the winter from Florida State. I thought he was going to be a great addition to the team. He might be leaving to go to a bigger program. I don't know. So it is what it is. But the rest of these dudes, not a big deal. Justin Brown leaving. If you don't remember Justin Brown, he was a late addition to the team. Last year, he went and signed with Mississippi State out of high school. Mike Leach passes away. Then Zach Arnett comes in as the new head coach, pushes him to the transfer portal after spring. They didn't want him. He wasn't part of their plan moving forward. So he got pushed to the portal after 3 months with the team, after 1 semester. Gets to Georgia Tech, probably can't play there. Not really their recruit. It didn't work out. It is what it is. Jaden Davis doesn't move me all that much. Eric Reed. Sad to see you go, Eric. Nothing to talk about. Ooh, Leftwich. You guys know Leftwich? Nothing too exciting here. Leftwich can play football. Bryant, a lot of potential. Glad he's going down to UAB. That's a good move for him. More power to him. Dowse going to Michigan State. That's a good move. Daquan Dowse can play football. KJ Wallace going to UCLA. These are good players. It's unfortunate they're losing them. You want to know who they're gaining, though. Oh, man. Got some UMass guys. Jason Moore. going to UAB. Shout out to UAB for recruiting properly. Just looking at all the Georgia Techs and like, yo, you guys want to show up? Yeah, wasn't high. Okay, EJ Lightsey. EJ Lightsey, 3-star kid coming out of Fitzgerald High School. He's not 3 stars, man. He was 4 stars coming out of high school. EJ Lightsey was a great player in high school, but it was a small high school. Like, they're a 2A school, and he plays great. I think he's got a lot of potential. I'm excited to see what happens. He couldn't play at Georgia, but he could probably play at Georgia Tech. That's fine. Not the end of the world. Like I said, Ayo I was excited for. It didn't work out. Leaving to FIU. Wing Green didn't pan out. I thought Wing Green came in from somewhere, but I got the wrong guy. Jamie Felix. Some of these running backs, he went back to the running back room. Some of these running backs got to leave, man. They got so many running backs, and there's only one ball. Only one ball. So that's what I'll say about that. I don't know if Hamilton's a good transfer. Didn't work out for me. Kyle Kennard leaving hurts. Another edge rusher. Defensive line is just struggling here. Warren Burrell can play football. This will be a really good transfer if he's not injury. Dude, I'm talking and showing you guys the screen, and I'm not even showing you the screen. That bothers me. That's on me, y'all. This whole live stream is trash, bro. I've been messing up. I've shown you guys all these pictures and talking about all these players. My fault. Kyle Kennard. Warren Burrell, like I said, good corner. If he can stay healthy, he's in. He's sticking around. But he's not there. Rylan Goody coming over from Mississippi State, former Georgia guy. A lot of people are excited about it. I'm not. Saeed Gibbs can play football. That's a decent player. I really like Saeed Gibbs and Warren Burrell. I believe they're both going to be on the field for Georgia Tech. Those are transfers that I'm excited about. Probably if Warren Burrell's healthy, he's a starter in the SEC. Ask Tennessee. But those two are pretty good. The rest all look pretty ho-hum. Losing some decent players. The recruiting class is elite. Let me say something to you guys. Chris Winkie is former Heisman Trophy winner, Florida State, for those of you guys who don't know. Chris Winkie moving to Georgia Tech, initially being the quarterback's coach, now becoming the offensive coordinator. Chris Winkie's not to be played with. That guy has so much recruiting power and got so much going for him that they went and got Aaron Philo. Now, I haven't ever looked at – I don't even give a shit about this. Let me go to football recruiting team rankings. I don't even look at this. I don't care. I look at this for pictures. Like, I look at 24/7 Sports for pictures of the players. I do not care about their assessment on the players. Like, I really don't. Their rankings, they don't move me in the slightest. Where is Georgia Tech? All right. My bad. I clicked on the wrong thing. We got to go back. Let's go back to 2024. 2024. These players, let me tell you how ridiculous these guys are for not knowing who the players are. And I'm talking about 24/7 Sports. Isaiah Cannon, baller. Ask Warner Robbins what's up, okay? Mega baller. Jordan Floyd, mega baller. Shout out to Parkview, okay? But when we get down here, I got to just talk to you guys about this right here. Aaron Philo, quarterback. We don't care about no South Lake Carroll quarterback. Aaron Philo, this guy right here is Georgia high school football royalty. Aaron Philo and his teammates showed up last year. I think Bailey Stockton showed up last year. Prince Avenue Christian. You guys don't know Prince Avenue Christian, 1A school, private school, the best school in the state, small school, best small school in the country. Shout out to Shaman Madonna. But Prince Avenue Christian, their starting quarterback a couple years ago was Brock Vandergriff. So I start watching Brock Vandergriff, 5-star quarterback. Went to Georgia, now the starting quarterback at Kentucky. Brock Vandergriff coming out of high school was, he's everything, okay? And I started watching Prince Avenue Christian football maybe his junior year. I want to say his senior year he played against Gunnar Stockton and them boys. So I'm watching them play, and I'm like, yo, they look like the Michigan Wolverines. Their helmet's Michigan. I'm watching them. Best fucking team you'll ever see, man. Coach so great. Plays so amazing. Their players, pound for pound, are studs. Defensive linemen get no stars, 3 stars. They become starters at the FBS level. Like, everybody they got is a super baller. I got so much respect for them. And their quarterback, after Brock Vandergriff left to Georgia, the new starting quarterback was this kid, Aaron Philo. Now, let me remind you, Brock Vandergriff was the son of the head coach. So it's just the coach's son. Aaron Philo is not the coach's son. I actually know Aaron Philo's father. He follows me on Twitter. Talk to him in the DMs. Aaron Philo, to me, is the best quarterback One of the very best in the country last year. I know. DJ Lagway. I know all the 5 stars. I got it. Go turn on the tape, bruh. Aaron Philo is him. He completed his high school career as the all-time leading passer in Georgia State history, meaning he broke Trevor Lawrence's record, who broke Deshaun Watson's record. Like, it was Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, right? And we're talking about quarterbacks from Georgia, Josh Fields, and like all the great quarterbacks recently out of Georgia. And I'm telling you, Aaron Philo is that good. He's so good. And these sites gave him 3 stars. Yeah, okay. They're doing the same thing with the kid Nickel. There's a kid Nickel right now. He plays quarterback. Is it Bo Nickel? No, that's a wrestler. That's an MMA guy and a wrestler. What's Nickel's first name? Luke. I think Luke. His brother just transferred out of Michigan State. He just hit the portal yesterday. Nickel, they're giving him 3 stars as well. And they might have gave him 4. These guys are fucking great, bro. You guys got to watch it. You got to watch the film. You got to turn around. You can't trust these stars. I don't care about none of this. Guys, I'm talking about a random 3-star on Georgia Tech's recruiting class. And I've never clicked on this page ever. I just know players. I just watch film all day long. That guy is it. Aaron Philo is what I'm excited about. Georgia Tech got a real quarterback. Chris Winkie knows how to evaluate talent. Knows what they find. And wait till you see Haynes King next year. You guys don't know Haynes King is one of the best dual threat quarterbacks in America. I think he was the fourth leading rusher among quarterbacks. Maybe that's Garrett Green. They're both amazing. Haynes King, the baddest dude out there, bro. You guys don't know how good Haynes King is. Oh, he's a Texas A&M washout. He didn't really. Yeah, bro. Go study Texas A&M quarterback room. And then remember this. Haynes King beat all of them in a quarterback battle 2 years in a row. He won the quarterback battle every single year coming out of camp. Now, he didn't hold it. Got injured, didn't play well, ended up benching him, ended up starting Connor Wegman, Max Johnson, all this other shit. I don't care. When we have tryouts and you go into camp with preparation, Haynes King beating everybody 2 years in a row. And now he's the starting quarterback at Georgia Tech. I'm excited for Georgia Tech next season. I'm excited for their recruiting class. Transfer portal doesn't look too great, but they're dumping out a lot of empty talent. It looks like they missed on some of the talent they were evaluating, but they might need a new defensive line coach. But their offensive side of the ball, my goodness, bro. Y'all don't know Jamal Hayes. I can't mess with you guys. Jamal Hayes playing out of where'd he play out of? Grayson? Watched him in high school. He's a punt returner. Kickoff returner, wide receiver. And then they made him a running back. Like, if you don't have history with these players, you won't know what I'm talking about. And that's the problem. Like, when people look at players, they don't know their whole history. I'm sitting here telling you their whole fucking history because I've been following them for years. I didn't just see them in a highlight tape yesterday. I've known these guys. So it's just something to think about when I'm talking about these players. I appreciate that question, though. Let me go talk about the transfer portal, then I'm going to come back to the chat. I'm actually, let me double check here. I'm supposed to be interacting with the chat, but I'm going to leave it like this. I'll get back to the chat here in a few. I want to talk about some of these players in the transfer portal. Look there's Jack Nickel. That's his brother. His brother's the quarterback that's probably going to Miami. So his brother's committed to Miami. If Miami was smart, they would send this kid an offer. That'll lock in your quarterback and you won't lose him. If Miami's smart, they sign Jack Nickel. Remember that. Now, is he good enough to play at Miami? I don't know about all that. But if Miami was smart, they would offer Jack Nickel. That's all I'm saying. You lock in his brother, Luke. I think it's Luke. Man, if I got the name wrong, my bad, bro. Does it have it on his profile here? Let me see. Nope. It's his brother, though. They're brothers. They're brothers from the same mother. Anyways, let me go talk about the transfer portal. Been talking for, we've been in here for a little bit, and I haven't even mentioned the portal. 71 minutes, haven't talked about the portal. So let's talk about the players in the portal. Number one, the best defensive lineman in the transfer portal is Chris Hardy right here, this 0-star kid they have up here. They don't have him ranked right. They might give him 3 stars when he hits the portal. Listen, I think he's on the short list to go to Oklahoma. I think he should go to Troy, but he can go wherever the fuck he wants to go. Chris Hardy is the best defensive lineman in the transfer portal. Go turn on the tape. Go watch Jackson State. Shout out to Rich Rodriguez. When I would assess Jackson State last year, We would talk about Jackson State because we bet on a lot of day games. We bet on a lot of weekday games. Jackson State played during the week all season long. Shout out to Conference USA. So we get to learn the group of 5 teams better than the Power 5 teams. And Chris Hardy, on tape, number 91, is a one-man wrecking crew. This is an NFL talent all day. Had him on all my lists. So much so that I started talking about Chris Hardy on Twitter in January. 4 months ago. Wasn't even in the portal. All I wrote was he just lost his defensive coordinator because he got hired by Oklahoma. And I said, yo, trust me, Hardy's got to get in the portal. Hardy's got to get in the portal, and he can play anywhere. He's a Sunday guy. Best guy out there. You tell all your favorite teams, track him down. When Chris Hardy commits somewhere, just know that defensive line got that much better. That dude's a dog. I think he had 8.5 sacks this past season. 8.5 sacks. That's as many as Sam Okunalola, and pick another transfer and combine them. He's amazing, bro. Nickel, like I said, his brother's a great quarterback. That might help in his recruitment. Anybody recruiting his brother might give him an offer, so that matters. That's one of those things. I'm going to talk about Colton Hood real quick from Auburn here, corner leaving Auburn. This past year he only had like 3 tackles. And you're going to see redshirt freshmen like this in the portal, and people will start labeling him and saying, oh, he doesn't want to compete. He's jumping in the portal. He's leaving. He doesn't want to compete. He's leaving. That's not what's happening, guys. What's happening is coaches are cutting players. Coaches are sending players to the transfer portal. Redshirt freshmen galore. Like this whole list, redshirt freshmen everywhere. And that's just a good old-fashioned way of saying, Coach, cut me. Coach is cutting these players. Real talk. So just remember that. Jalen Berger, second leading rusher out of Michigan State last year. Obviously, he saw another running back coming in from UMass. He's hitting the portal. Don't know where he's going to end up. He's a pretty big back. He was actually a touchdown machine, was it 2 years ago? But I think one option you might see for Berger, he's a short yardage back. One option you might see for him is Syracuse. Syracuse and Fran Brown and the boys, they don't necessarily need it, but they do have a connection there and a relationship. Another option, I don't want to go guess everywhere, but Jalen Berger can play. I'd imagine the entire MAC's going to call him. He can play, though. He's a good player. I think he once scored double-digit touchdowns. I don't want to pull it up, but I'm pretty sure he scored double-digit touchdowns. Terrence Brooks. All the Colorado fans are going to go crazy. Oh, my God, Terrence Brooks is in the portal. We got a chance to land him. He might be coming. Who gives a shit? He wasn't good enough to start at Texas. He's not good enough to start at Colorado. And if you show up to your team, you're just going to put him on the bench, and then he'll transfer next year. He's a good recruit, good player, coming out of high school. They thought very highly of him. But it's just one of those things where it's like, why get him? Just going to bench him. Not going to give him a starting job. If he wants a starting job, he should hit one of those regional schools in Texas, like North Texas or something. But if he's going to another Power 5 program, because he will, because that's who's recruiting him, he's just going to sit the bench. It's no big deal. Let me keep looking here. Like I said, a lot of redshirt freshmen. Nobody to write home about. Nobody to get too excited about. Derek Harmon's a big body in the middle. Someone will sign him. That's a big guy. Good, strong, up front. Curtis Perry, everybody's excited about him. Congratulations. When I see guys wash out of major programs, I see them as recruiting busts. I don't necessarily see them as, oh my God, we got somebody great. No, you got somebody who couldn't start there and he's a recruiting bust. Hope he does well. Hope he parlays it into another offer and a chance to finish his degree, because he's not an NFL football player. He's typically going to be selling insurance soon. Savion Wilkerson, talked about him, 1,100 yards. Jalen Barden, where did he come from? He came from a big school, going to Georgia Southern, and it didn't work out. He only had 100 yards receiving at Georgia Southern. If you didn't know, that's bad. Will Norman back in the portal. It's a Florida kid. Going to Marshall. If you can't make it at Marshall, I don't know. I don't know what that's about. Wesley Walker, good player. Brendan Sullivan, I think he's going to Michigan. Just knee-jerk reaction. He should be the starting quarterback at Michigan. Brendan Sullivan, I did a review on Northwestern just the other day. 6'3", 220. Brendan Sullivan is good enough to start at Northwestern. He's Northwestern's starting quarterback. So to see him jump in the portal after spring football, that is weird. That's weird. Like, that's not cool. I don't know if there's tampering going on or what, but that's a guy that can play football. He's not great, but he's not terrible. He's not a liability. And Michigan quarterbacks are bad. Michigan quarterbacks ain't it. So that's how I feel. I think Brendan Sullivan probably could start at Michigan. That's what I think. Who knows where he's going? But he's probably better than Alex Orji and whatever Michigan has on their roster. Deacon Hill, that's the most obese young man I've seen. Deacon Hill's in his early 20s, guys. Deacon Hill's in his early 20s, and he looks like he will not be making it to 40, bro. That's Jared Lorenzen. You know, if you're walking around, I just want to say this public service announcement to those of you who don't work out. Work out, bro. Work out every day. Be in shape. I know a lot of people try to tell me I'm fat. I'm sitting here, bro. I got no rolls. I'm not flabby. I'm all muscle. I've been working out my whole life, right? Being in the Army over 20 years, you'll work out every day. Join the Army. Get in shape. See what happens. After about 20 years, just what are push-ups, bro? Deacon Hill's not going to make it, man. You walk around in life, there aren't a lot of obese 80-year-olds. There aren't a lot of obese 70-year-olds. They don't exist. They don't exist. They just disappear. You're not going to make it. Don't get fat, bro. Work on yourself. That's all I'm saying. Work on yourself. Davion Prim, another running back buried on the depth chart at Michigan State. He left. No big deal. Mike Wright, quarterback, leaving Mississippi State. Should have never went to Mississippi State. You're losing the job or competing at Vanderbilt, and you transfer to Mississippi State. You can't play there. It's a terrible transfer. Oh, but I wanted to get in the spread offense. I wanted to get this opportunity and this. No, you're not better than the quarterbacks they have. I think Mike Wright should have transferred to Middle Tennessee State, and he would have had just a fine career. But they don't listen. They don't listen. Talked about all these guys before. I think I talked about him yesterday. I want to go there. Switzer's a good player. Shout out to him. Switzer tackles a lot, you guys. Switzer had over 80 tackles last year. That's a good player. Utah State. Ed Woods. I like Ed Woods. Didn't work out. Isaiah Newell. I already talked about him yesterday. Mike Franklin. That running back room got loaded and full. Loaded and full. Hey, Shane Illington. This is Oklahoma transfer. Left Oklahoma, went to Nevada. I want to say. Let me double check that. I don't like being wrong. Obviously, I'm going off the top of my head when I talk. Norco, California, Oklahoma State. Ooh, I was so close. Oklahoma State. Yeah, Norco, California. Go to San Diego State, bro. They need you. There's Snorlax, Lorando Johnson. They call him Snacks. If they call you Snacks, bro, because you're eating, nah, I don't know what that's about, bro. You ain't calling me Snacks. That ain't my nickname. My nickname ain't Snacks, dude. We ain't getting down like that. Let's go. Cameron Warchuk, the long snapper. Shout out to Colorado, losing their long snapper. I talked about Teron Keith yesterday. Sean Brown leaving. Oof, that's bad. Antonio Gates Jr. leaving. Isaiah Polk's a decent player, leaving Pitt, but that happens, man. Pitt brought in 2 or 3 wide receivers in the transfer portal, and they were very familiar. Both of them were very familiar with their new offensive coordinator's scheme because they played with him at Western Carolina 2 years ago. So the kid from UNLV who showed up, and then the Western Carolina kid, they're great. They're going to be just fine. Pitt's wide receiver room's loaded. Rodney Hill's not in the portal. He's committed to Arkansas. Let's keep going. Xavier Carter back in. What a joke. Jay Fair, good wide receiver, leaving Auburn. Short, small, but good. One of the few guys. Let me tell you something about Clemson transfers. Clemson transfers find new schools. They don't sign anybody out of the transfer portal. Dabo says we're not using the transfer portal. We're not going to sign anybody. But Clemson transfers find new schools. And I'm going to tell you why. It's because those position coaches share film and give a really good synopsis / review or reference when the players leave. Let me tell you why I had such a big issue with the Cormani McClain thing yesterday. Some fat dude with titties, right? I forgot his name. But he got on and he started saying Uncle Neely, they say. Uncle Neely, he works for media. And he started dragging Cormani and saying, let me tell you my testimony. I witnessed this and I witnessed that. And that's such a classless move by Colorado. And the reason I say that is because I feel like that dude is a shill. I feel like that dude is a puppet of Coach Prime's. Like, Coach Prime will talk to him behind closed doors, and then that dude will go out to his platform, and Coach Neely, hey, Mr. Neely, Uncle Neely's going to tell you the truth about this. Let me tell you what I saw. Let me tell you what I know. Prestigious programs don't do that shit. Prestigious programs wish their players well and help them along the way. Hey, you're leaving? Okay, we're going to have an exit meeting. You depart. Hey, before you leave, I want you to hit the player personnel desk, get a clip. We got all your highlights lined up for you so you can share it with coaches. We got all your practice film lined up for you so you can share it with coaches. Colorado doesn't do that. They don't line up the kids and help them out at their next stop and get them to the next level. They're not giving them film. We already know this. Players from last year went and talked about it. They couldn't get their film. So if you're going to go and you're going to start dragging these kids in the media, please understand no other prestigious program carries themselves this way. Like, Clemson kicked the guy off the team last year, and they just said, yeah, we removed him from the team, and then they helped him get to Ole Miss. They helped him enroll. Now, I was very critical of it, but I do understand that there's echelons to this. Like there's professional issues with this. When a kid leaves your program, if he says anything negative, they're always going to crush him in the media. This is why all these kids are in the portal and you haven't heard a word about it. All these redshirt freshmen in the portal right now were cut by their team. They were cut by their coach. They were told, hey, you're not a part of our plans moving forward. We just had an exit meeting. You're not part of our plans moving forward. You need to go to the portal. We think it's best you go to the portal. And the young man has no other choice but to go to the portal. But he doesn't get to go out in the media and say, Coach cut me. They promised me this. They lied to me here. He doesn't get to do anything like that. Because if he does, he'll get blacklisted. He'll get blackballed. None of the coaches will mess with him. Because the coaches have this unwritten rule where it's like, you don't talk bad about us in public, or we'll crush you. Or we'll get behind closed doors and make sure you don't get a job anywhere else. But Colorado has the nerve to have their coaches go out on social media and go, yo, we got receipts. Don't make me start talking about where you've been and what you've been doing. The childish, unprofessional way of carrying yourself. It reminds me of high school coaches. And at the FBS level, you can't carry yourself as a high school coach. So no, I wasn't surprised to see Cormani McClain's high school coach pipe up and be like, yeah, we saw that coming. Yeah, he was like, yeah, you saw that coming? As you continue to start him and enable him? Like, people don't understand. That is unprofessional, and you're never going to be anywhere. Like, that high school coach will never make it at the collegiate level. When you're a college team, you keep it moving. The fans can say what they want to say. Bear Alexander left Georgia. Fans start spamming out how Bear Alexander didn't practice hard. He's not a good player. Da-da-da-da-da. He wasn't even part of the plans. He was lazy. Georgia never said anything. No, they just kept it moving. They're looking for somebody else. They're just like this. They're working. We ain't got time for that. But Colorado coaches are going to flex on this young man and start being like, well, you don't want us to give out receipts. We got receipts. Or then you send this fat minion of yours to go in front of the mic. Well, I got a testimony. I was in a meeting that I was privy to. And you're not talking about that meeting unless you got the green light from the coaches to say it. Because you didn't say it before. You're supposed to be the media. You're supposed to tell us how it is. You're behind closed doors with access to the team, and you don't say shit. Where were you that week? You want to be real? You want to give us behind-the-scenes information? That fucking week, he misses practice, doesn't go do the meetings, doesn't watch the film. That week, you go on your show and say, yo, I was in a meeting. I saw him do this. I saw this. That's real. That's authentic. But waiting until it doesn't pan out, and then waiting until the kid or the young man goes online and says, well, I don't want to play for clicks. Now we're up in arms. Now we go to our social media platforms and start flexing on the player. And you wonder why the departing players don't say anything. Man, I wonder why Dylan left. Man, I wonder why Connor left. I wonder why David Connor left. You guys think I'm wrong, but if you go to my videos on TikTok, you're going to see in the comment section former Colorado players write RicoKnows. And then a woman wrote to him and said, oh, don't do that. Keep it in-house. Don't do that. Keep it in-house. Keep it in the, if he's not in the Colorado camp, keep it in-house. No. Fuck that. Tell the truth. You guys want to go through life where people don't tell the truth, and then you're backing a coaching staff that's attacking a former player. Instead of just keeping it 100, moving forward, we wish him well. Not just we wish him well, get his tape. Put together all his clips. That's what Clemson's doing. That's why Clemson kids don't sit in the portal long. Every single one of them for the last 2 years has found a new school. None of them are dying in the portal. None of them are going FBS or FCS. None of them are struggling. The coaching staff is giving them a really good reference. And you know who doesn't get really good references? Toxic leaders. They don't give good references. Toxic work environments. People who don't even know what it is to carry themselves that way. Like I heard that dude, Uncle Neely, say, Coach Prime, I watched the coach. He's turning the other cheek. A lot of things could be said in public. He keeps it behind closed doors. Motherfucker, they should have kept you behind closed doors. Get on your platform and start talking about a 19-year-old from a meeting you got access to, but you didn't give that access. And you didn't give that information when it happened. You waited till he washed out. I'm talking about people when it happens because I don't give a shit whether or not it plans out or not. These people on TikTok, these trolls, they're not even on YouTube to answer their questions. They don't even come in and write the comments. We don't talk to them. I don't care about none of y'all, man. There's more people on TikTok than there is on YouTube. I don't care. Once again, I make these videos not for views. I make these videos to get the information out there, to educate, and so I can go back to it and show you later. Bum ass shit, bro. Let's go back to the portal. Looking at some of these other players, I'm going to get to the chat here in a second. Some of these other guys I wanted to give a shout out to, or at least mention as potential players you should keep your eye on. I'm just going down and just scrolling peacefully. I was excited about that one. I'm talking about Zach Owens is why I went on that rant. Because Zach Owens is going to find a spot. Somebody's going to believe in Zach Owens. And he's going to get rave reviews from his coach. Adam Hopkins, complete stud in the transfer portal. Better than a number of players. Teams will sign him. It's a Power 4 kid. All day. As long as he has the grades, obviously. Paris Patterson. Yikes. I just said yikes. That's all I said. I didn't go into detail. Keep looking. Yeah, man. Slim pickings. A lot of redshirt freshmen. A lot of guys who didn't pan out. A lot of recruiting misses. And you notice, Christian Braithwaite, this guy can play. Christian Braithwaite, he can play. I hope he's not a cancer. That's a good player. Just letting you know. Solid player. Armani Winfield, man, they had Armani Winfield and Reggie Bush at Baylor. Stud names, bro. Stud names. That's all I'm saying. Just Winfield, Bush, just real names. It's not Reggie Bush Jr. It's Reggie Bush Jr., but it's a different Reggie Bush. Reggie Bush III. Marquez Thrower, told you it wasn't going to work out. Kentucky transfer coming back home. Went to Georgia State, already back in the portal. Yikes. I don't know, man. There's a whole lot of people here. I'm going to go back to the chat, and then we're going to wrap up the show. Thanks for hanging out. They told me he was running with the third string. Quayshawn Sapp. Yeah. So it happens when you hang out with guys like Rodney Hill, bro. You just don't pan out. All right, let's go over here and look. Let's go to the chat. Chat's here. Give me a second. Interact. Hey, Rico, I don't know if you saw the FSU game. I did. Okay, fair. Rico, in your opinion, yep. Love watching your over-under win videos. Great insight and detail. Thank you, Carson. Appreciate the work that goes into it. Thank you so much, Carson. Yeah, you can't fake what I'm doing in those videos. And if you guys don't know what Carson's talking about, I break down videos for the MVPs. I break down teams very in-depth, every single player on the roster type thing. And it takes me some time. It does. It takes me some time to make the video. It takes me some time to do the talking. But the MVPs are very appreciative of the content, and I work really hard on that. Nobody sees that, only MVPs. So if you're on YouTube or TikTok, you don't see the videos I make. I've made 500 videos for the MVP, so it is what it is. What school had the most kids enter the portal this year? Because it seems like only Colorado kids get covered. I haven't heard about the 20 kids from Houston or Louisville. OT, what do you mean you haven't heard about the 20 kids from Houston or Louisville? You don't watch my content? You don't support my page? Like, I made videos on it. That's weird, man. Like, could you imagine you walk up to somebody and you're like, man, I don't even see shit like this. And you did it, like you made it, you made the video and nobody cares. That's weird, man. I mean, watch this. This man just said nobody's talked about it. What do you mean? I'm nobody? I'm right here on Twitter. April 18th, I said, Houston's new head coach, Willie Fritz, is changing everything. I've talked about this for the last 3 or 4 months. The mass exodus in the transfer portal is no surprise to me. Follow the link for my reactions. Houston Cougars football team has 26 players in the portal since the winter. Nobody's talked about it? You don't consume my content. You don't watch my videos. I posted a video on YouTube. I made a Twitter post about it. Probably made a TikTok post about it. But you don't consume my content, so you come in here and say nobody's talked about it. Who the fuck is nobody, bro? Stop watching ESPN. That's what you need to do. Stop watching ESPN. If you want information on college football, you're going to the wrong place. It's that simple. You're going to the wrong place. Because there's my video. There's my post on it. I talked about Houston. And I've been talking about Houston. But I did a whole video on it, and you just didn't care. Nobody's talking about it, Rico. Come on, man. It's an insult. It's an insult. Man, I'm not even going to mock it. It is what it is. Terrible analogy, Rico. In the NFL and college football, you have to look for somebody else every year. That's how you build your program, right? No. That is terrible, Terrell. I don't know if you're being facetious, you're being sarcastic, just chopping it up or what. But no. Free agency, build your team through free agency. See how long that lasts. No, you got to build it through the draft. You got to build it through development. No. Rico is on his square. I don't even know what that means, but I'm here. Defensive end Kelly from Miami to UCF. Great move. I mean, good move. Congratulations. Michigan State transfers. There's a lot of them. Haynes was a problem versus my Dogs last season. He's good. They just hired Simpson as the new defensive line coach at Tech. My bad. That's on me. That's on me, Sean Kemp. I appreciate the correction. Me saying they need a new defensive line coach. It might be that's what caused the turnover. That's on me. Will Shiloh being 25 years old hurt his draft stock? Ugh. Shiloh getting roasted by Caleb Mathis at practice will hurt his draft stock. Shiloh having the inability to wrap up and tackle will hurt his draft stock. Being a safety will hurt his draft stock. Not having 4.4 speed on the field will hurt his draft stock. I mean, like, I don't know what we're doing. You know, a lot of people will talk about age, but age doesn't really matter. I mean, this ain't the NBA, bro. Like, this ain't baseball. You're going to get 2 contracts if you're worth a damn. You get 1 contract and you're out of the league, and that's a number of people. You get 2 contracts if you're worth a damn. 3 contracts, you're a Hall of Famer. Like, that's it. Who gives a shit how old you are? Like, everybody's talking about age. Running backs show up. They're good for 2 contracts. I don't care if you're 25 or 21 You're getting 2 contracts. We're not going to sign you after that. I don't even think you should get the second contract. 25 years old is not hurting Shiloh. What's hurting Shiloh is his talent or lack thereof. I'm Woe says, thoughts on Nikhil Green? Nakai Green, the linebacker from Charlotte. It's so hard to watch him and not get upset at the other kid. There's another linebacker at Charlotte. It's the worst linebacker in the world. I watch film. I go by numbers, and I take my notes and stuff. Fucking stud, bro. Nakai Green is so good. Charlotte had good linebacker play. He's a good player. Terrence Brooks is Texas' best corner. Yeah, man. He's Texas' best corner. Ugh. I hear you. I just wonder who watches tape. Like, if you say that, did you evaluate all the Texas corners? I just need to know. Morning, all. Who's paying Rico to bash Colorado? The people need to know. Mr. Nelson, no one's bashing Colorado. Not on his staff. Rico getting money for this rant. Cap. Okay. Well, I thought it was an adult because his name was Mr. Nelson. Then he wrote the word cap, and he wasn't talking about the salary cap, so I knew it was a child at that point. There's no reason to talk. In 2 to 3 minutes, he will be talking ad about Colorado Watch. I don't even know what this kid's saying. Mr. Nelson is a fucking child. Cap. Aaron Philo was fun to watch during high school playoffs. Buford let me down, though. Do you plan on doing your weekly Georgia high school football recaps when the season starts? Oh, of course, Mr. Mike and Ike. Always. Neely was a little emotional, but Colorado does give tape. The tight end Madier released his practice highlights on Twitter. There we go. Let's make sure all the players feel welcome to do that. Let's have a process created where on your departure and you're out processing from the team, you have to stop by a certain desk and get the process. Like, you have to create processes. That's what head coaches are for. I used to run an organization with hundreds of people. I know exactly how to manage everything. It's about delegation of authority. And if you don't have processes in place, you will fail. So if young men are having to ask for it individually instead of there being a process to ensure they get it, 2 different things. Just so we're clear. Neely was a little, yo, Rico, do you think JUCO will become stronger with all these high school and freshmen that need tape in the portal era? No, Mason Taylor. JUCO is far weaker. So JUCO players used to get signed somewhere around 400 to 500, and I think it might get back to 200, but it's really low right now. And the reason it's low is COVID. COVID took up 1 year of eligibility from everybody, or gave everybody 1 year of eligibility, and there's only 85 seats. So it's a long process. I don't want to get too long-winded on it, but you understand that every player in America has 5 years to play for. And that's been the social norm for so long. But in 2020, the NCAA said you don't have to, that year doesn't count. So now everybody had an extra redshirt year, essentially. And when you got that extra year, they didn't increase the number of scholarships, so there's only 85 scholarships on every team. Thank you, Title IX. So if you don't increase the number of scholarships, what you just did was if I signed 25 kids out of high school, you just took 100 players in 4 years, and we usually take that 100 and cram them into 85, no problem. We then get 125 because we can redshirt, theoretically. And now we have COVID. So now it's 150 kids got to fit in 85 over the next 4 years. It's impossible. So you got to stop recruiting those 25. You got to go like 6, 10, 12. The great teams have not stopped recruiting. The great teams are still signing 25 players. They don't care. They're going to sign the 25, and then they're going to cut players and send them to the portal. So you just keep recruiting, keep signing. But what you don't do is you don't go and recruit the JUCOs. And the reason for that is JUCOs are like getting a used car. You guys ever bought a used car? You're getting a used car. Where do you want to get a used car from? If you were going to buy a used car, would you go to a dealership, like a certified dealership, or would you go to Jim's Auto on the outskirts of town. So if you know you're going to get a car and you know you need one and it's going to be a used car, are you going to the Lexus dealer like Alabama? Are you going to Georgia, USC to get your players? Or are you going to Jim's Auto Shop, Hutchinson Community College, and one of the JUCOs out there? And that's the difference, right? So if you're a JUCO player, the way you're going to make it as a JUCO player, there are two different types of JUCO players. There are the 4.24s, the bounce backs. So you were at a 4-year university, went to a JUCO, and then you're going to bounce back. Or there's the traditional, I came out of high school, I was under-recruited, I'm a really good player, they don't know about me, I'm going JUCO, and then I'm going to earn my way to the league. You know, it's just, it's so hard, man. The seats aren't there. The seats aren't there until you get to 2026. 2026 is when the seats will be available. That's when we'll get rid of all of these COVID year guys, and recruiting will get back to normal-ish. Players out of high school will get offers at 25 a clip at every single school. Now, I say 25, by the way, there is no limit anymore, so you can sign as many initial entry scholarships as you want, but 25 is a good number, just because of the math. But yeah, you need academic attrition, injuries, and people to fail just to fit them into 85. If you hit on every single recruit, you got a problem. You're going to lose somebody. So, Rico, you have great knowledge when it comes to college football, but please be graceful. Love you, my brother. Hey, Tony Lawrence, thanks for the support, man. I appreciate you. What I recommend, shout out to Tony Lawrence, is like if you guys are fans, if you're content consumers, you watch videos, you watch the content, like please do that and do it well, right? Do it well, consume it well. But what you should never do is give advice to content creators. Don't do it. You're not a content creator, so you don't even understand what I'm doing every day. So while you might say something like, don't do that, don't make videos where you do this or do that, you literally don't understand the algorithm, the fan base, or how to do this for a living. Like if anybody's telling me don't do that and try to give me input on how to do something better, first thing I do is I want to make sure you're a content creator. Or you have a history of advising content creators to be better at what they do. And if you don't give me any advice. Not in that regard. Now, you might enjoy videos more if they were positive in nature. I can see down here, you say, please don't roast these young men. There's always room for physical and emotional and academic improvement and all this stuff. And it's like, man, I hear you, Tony. Tony, you are coming from the perspective of a parent, a concerned parent, and all this stuff. I'm coming from the perspective of giving authentic and accurate information. That's it. And I'm not going to wait till the player fails out of the team to say my opinion on the player, to make my assessment on the player. I'm not Colorado. I'm not going to wait till they leave and then start talking shit about them. That's not me. Right? That's why I'm a fan of players and coaches. Please understand, I do not give a shit where these players go to school. I do not care where these coaches work. I'm a fan of players and coaches, not the jerseys they're wearing, not the colors they're associated with, because they're going to move schools, go to a different university or a different city, and they're going to wear a different colored jersey. It's still the same person. So I assess people for what they are. And what I do is I say to you guys, you're not a fan of anything other than some colors. All the homers out there, you're a fan of black jerseys. Colorado fans, you're a fan of black jerseys. You are not a fan of these players or of the coaches. Nope. You're a fan of black jerseys because if people leave and people come and go and whatever, you flip on them. You don't support them anymore. And I learned this as a kid when I was an Emmitt Smith fan. I was an Emmitt Smith fan and he got traded to the Cardinals. And I remember going to school and all the kids and everybody was like, man, F Emmitt Smith, F the Cardinals. And I was like, bro, this is my favorite player in the whole wide world. I don't give a shit what jersey he's wearing. That's my dude. He wears 22, I wear 22. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if you can't keep that, like, I swear, man, I watched it with Jerry Rice going to the Raiders and Randy Moss going to the Raiders. Like, people just don't like players when they move. I don't wait for them to move for me to support the player or for me to call it what it is and not support the player. I do not have to. It's not, the life isn't all fucking rainbows and Skittles, bro. It just isn't. That's not how I get down. Pretty sure he was talking about the general media. I'm not sure what that's about, Stevie Day. By the time I get to that comment, it's too late. You got to be more specific. Hey, Rico, your list is cool. None of your hidden gem or favorites are not in the top 10 of linebackers. I believe you, Rico. None of your favorites are not in the top 10 of linebacker. I believe you, Rico. He's talking about my NFL draft rankings list. If you didn't know, I put it on YouTube today on a list. I hope that was cool. I don't know what's going on with that. I'm trying to understand what you're saying. Also, people who are new to this coach, Prime, get attention ever since his little league to Prime Academy to high school to Jackson. Now, CU at Prime, so don't like him. Oh, I don't know about any of that stuff. I can't speak for anything like that. I don't like results, man. I don't like other stuff. I don't really care about that kind of stuff. Yesterday, you mentioned Blake Shapen being bad. Should State fans be worried? He looked great in the spring game. No, you shouldn't be worried. You got a new coach, new offensive scheme, new environment, better players around him. Maybe he gets better. At Baylor, he was terrible. Mock draft. I don't do mock drafts. I do draft rankings, but I don't give a shit about the draft. Mock draft? You guys don't waste your time reading mock draft. A story where somebody can guess what 32 different GMs are going to do on one particular night? That sounds ridiculous. That sounds like the dumbest premise in the world. Only thing convinced some of these players are money. Well, I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true at all. But I'd say it's true about some people. All these Colorado fans ain't going to know what to do with themselves once Prime leaves after this year. Oh, how long do you think this COVID mess lasts? Yeah, it's going to last at least 5 years because of the red shirting that coincides with it. So if you signed in 2020, that didn't count against you. You red shirted in 21, and then you're going to play 4 years after that. So it's going to last until 2026-ish. 2026-ish. They will openly be insert next school fans. Yeah, no shit. Mr. Nelson says, Rico, did you play football with a question mark? Cap equals lying. Oh, Mr. Nelson, I'm very familiar with what cap means, but adults would write liar or lying or exaggerating. Children write the word cap. Okay? Secondly, did I play football? Not only did I play it, I coached it. There's video of it. The fans found it. It happened. It doesn't matter, Mr. Nelson. But that doesn't validate me. Remember this, Mr. Nelson. You can watch a really shitty movie and know the actors aren't any good. You can watch it and be like, that's not good acting, bro. And you ain't never acted a day in your life. But you know shitty music, you know shitty movies, and I know shitty coaches, and I know shitty football, and I know terrible players, and I know dudes who shouldn't be named Mr. Nelson. How about that? Has any programs ever tried to hire you as a recruiter? Five Land. So obviously I make my living doing this, and I'm very comfortable and happy doing it. No coaches or no programs have tried to hire me as a recruiter. I will say this. I have an agent. He's inquired about my willingness to coach. I have not turned it down. I have not said I'm not willing to coach and join a staff. The problem is probably going to be how they compensate me and if they try to censor what I do for a living, because I do make a very good living doing this. It is very lucrative for me. So I will keep doing this, and they would have to talk real numbers, and I don't think anyone's in that position right now, to be honest. I've turned down everything. I make over $1,000 a day. I don't think I would. I'm never going to take the bag for what they're offering me. Like, you offer me a certain amount, it doesn't really move me because I don't need it, right? Everybody's about necessity. So that's how that goes. Where would Penny Boone fit in at Kentucky or Georgia? Kentucky is probably more aligned with what he does. I don't think he can play at either school. But Kentucky sounds about right. But I don't think he can play at Georgia. There's 4 running backs at Georgia better than Penny Boone. Mr. Nelson says, cap, lies, lies. Your energy changes when you talk about Colorado. It's like you're happy to talk bad about Colorado. I see it. So, Mr. Nelson, if you see it, why don't you go watch my 200 videos on Colorado? Because there's 200 of them. Over 200 of them. Go watch them, bro. Go to TikTok, click on the Colorado playlist, and get to watching. And just watch me. Just watch my energy change. If you're not here to support me and rock with me, get the out. I don't need you. I'm doing just fine without the haters. What you think about linebacker from Tennessee, Elijah Herring? Elijah Herring's a stud linebacker. Left Tennessee. We don't know why. But I'll tell you what. That's a stud linebacker, and he's probably going to the highest bidder. He's probably extremely expensive, but Elijah Herring is there. He's a pretty good player. Hey, Rico, why do you think the Colorado players are leaving? So when you look at the players, I think every player has a reason for leaving. I think every player's reason for leaving is their own, right? I think they're all leaving for various reasons, and that's what it is. Everybody's different. There isn't one fail swoop answer on why they're leaving. But I can tell you that there are a group of players who have left who've reached out to me, and I'm going to put it simple. I'm going to put it like this. They don't believe in what they're building there. They don't believe in what's being built. They don't believe the coaches are starting the right players or giving the right players the opportunity. I talked to one young man, and he just said, hey, look, I felt like I should be in the 2 deep, and they still got me running with 3s. He goes, I think I'm better than the guys in front of me. I'm doing better. I look better, and it ain't happening. What do I do? So he's out. Now, some people could say that's a disgruntled player, but you asked me a question, and I'm answering it. I think the players don't believe in what they're building, so they depart. And if you don't believe that's true, slow down and read the comments on the TikTok videos. On the Colorado TikTok video, slow down and read the comments. You will see Colorado players in the comments, and all they say is Rico knows. That's it. That's all I'm saying. Yo, East Texas tapping in. Shout out to East Texas. When I hear East Texas, I think Beaumont. I think Beaumont in Houston. I think Katy. Do a film review on Will Henderson, running back from Gilmer, and Chase Johnson from Dangerfield. So, Bumpty, that's not how you get on the list. There's a pinned video on TikTok explains that to you how to get on the waiting list. Write in all caps doesn't make it happen. Love the content, Rico. Keep it up. Thank you, Noah Ryan. That's what I do. What do you think about Dylan Edwards leaving Colorado? I have a whole video on that yesterday. My live stream from yesterday, Jose. Please go watch it. Talked about it at length. Don't watch the video. Watch the live stream. Understand. Keep doing you. Shout out to you. I appreciate you. Rico, I have loved Colorado football since 1980. Do you think Coach Prime is not being upfront with the players? I like Coach Prime, and I'm afraid because you're usually spot on. Tony Lawrence. Mr. Nelson is the fan that real Colorado fans don't claim emotional football. These are kids, yeah. Tony Lawrence, shout out to you. I want to say that I think Coach Prime is honest with the players. I think Coach Prime is an honest person. I don't think he's misleading the players or anything like that. What I am assessing the issue at Colorado being is he's hired the wrong people. And when you hire position coaches, they have to have the ability to evaluate talent day in and day out, recruit, coach, do a number of things. And I think he's empowered the wrong people to make certain decisions at Colorado. That's all. And that could be a number of things. But what's really happening is if you're using a certain number of people for recruiting and then a certain number of people for the transfer portal and a certain number of people for development of the players and coaching, what you're doing is you're taking an NFL approach to developing these players, and it actually doesn't work because there's no relationship there. In other words, you just saw players leaving a school and a position group, and their position coach didn't leave. Please understand that. The vast majority of transfers are following their position coaches to other schools. Whether that be he was my defensive line coach, now he's a defensive coordinator. He was my this, that. Like, you can go, Isaiah Rakes, for example, just left USC going to Auburn. Well, his old defensive coordinator is now at Auburn. So he's following his defense coordinator. And none of these Colorado players are following their coaches. There's no commitment to their coaches. They don't have a bond with their coaches. They're just leaving. They're going to other places. They're not following their coaches. And they're not loyal to their coaches. And the reason for that is a number of things. Number one, it could be your coaches didn't create that bond with you when you were in high school. You can't get that bond when you're recruiting kids out of the transfer portal. You don't have full buy-in in the program. You don't trust your coach's assessment or plan for you. If your position coach tells you you're the fourth best in the room and you think you're the second best, that could be problematic. I'm sure every kid wants to play. But that's the problem, is the position coaches don't have a strong bond with their players. Their players are not ride or die with their position coaches. And you need to be. You need to be all in with your position coach. And you can't get that way if you don't have any equity with your players. If you just met the dude 3 weeks ago in the transfer portal, he could be a fucking baller out of this world. But he doesn't even know you. He doesn't trust you. He doesn't believe in you. I need you guys to go get a new job tomorrow. Go get a new job tomorrow. And then try to have a bond with your new boss. Compare that to 3 years with at another company with another boss that you trust. Like, it's simple, man. It's simple. You need to have your position coaches recruiting, in-home visits, knowing these players inside and out, and the players need to be so close. They don't need to be at Colorado for Coach Prime. They need to be at Colorado for their position coach, because that's the template for success. You think Colorado will win 10 games this year? Bumpty 5X, you will be severely disappointed. Severely disappointed. It's like I don't think you've evaluated their opposition. I think you might know Colorado's team and players, but I don't think you've evaluated the opposition. The same people who wrote this last year, I just looked at you guys and said, they're winning 4 games, guys. It's the Pac-12. And I went through and I talked about every single roster, and I talked about the game, and I said, they're not winning in conference. You're saying they're playing in the Big 12 and they're going to win 10 games this year. It's like you have not studied the teams they're playing against. You might know a player or two, but you haven't. I've studied the entire fucking thing. That's crazy. That's ignorance, bro. I've never seen somebody try to be so loud and wrong all at the same time. Like, that's just crazy. But you know what, Bumpty? I shouldn't discourage you. You just wrote that. You should make a video and talk about it. And then if anybody's rocking with you, they will follow you, and then you'll have a following. But if nobody agrees with you, you just won't have a following. And that's the difference, right? When you know what you're talking about, people will listen. People will follow. People will support. If you don't know what you're talking about, well, you just fall by the wayside. And comments like that are very uninformed. It's crazy. It's like you guys live in a vacuum and you think you're the only good team in America or the only team with improvements. North Dakota State is very good. Colorado State is very good. I wish you guys did your homework. And I'm not even going to talk about Texas Tech and West Virginia, because that's just, I don't know, man. I got Colorado maybe 6th or 7th in the Big 12. Not 6 or 7 wins, 6th or 7th in the Big 12 on a good day. Hey, guys, I'm going to wrap it up because I got to get to work. I've been in here chopping it up with you guys, and I haven't been working. I appreciate you guys for being here. I got to start making my content for the MVPs. Get ready for this weekend. I do have a bunch of stuff going on. Shout out to the UFC and everything we do over there. I just appreciate you guys for being here. We'll see. Let me hit refresh on this and see if anybody else jumped in today. Only 2 guys. Keenan Landry, defensive lineman. Not a big deal. Hubbard leaving Duke. Hey, that's okay. I'll talk about it on a different podcast at a different time. Hey, thanks for being here. I appreciate everybody. Just want to remind you guys, Your friends don't know. But Rico knows. Peace, y'all.